Hey guys, this is Chris Fayte with Cheat the Game coming back at you. Today I'm going to be retaking a look at Max Payne 3. I've had a lot of people write me about that's unable to, either one, can't find the health, or two, is having trouble comparing out health. And I think some more trouble they're getting confused in the debugger screen. So first things I want to do before we bring up the game is I need to say this also. When you find a game that you like, please buy the game, okay? Because we want to support these devs so that they can continue making games, and plus people need to be paid for their hard work. That being said, even when you pay for a game, I would recommend going to see if there's a crack available for it. No CD or cracks and things like that. Usually those will get rid of memory checks for you. And it's just a lot easier to, when you're going into game hacking or game modifications or modding up a game, to make sure that those memory checks are taken care of without you having to do all that yourself. And sometimes that will help. But I don't recommend downloading pirated copies of the game and just not paying for it. That's something I don't agree with. We want to support devs for these games that we truly love, because we want them to keep making them. Okay, we want them to come out with sequels and everything like that. So when you're seeing up here that you say, oh, I see you're using a crack, Chris, shame on you. Well, I actually bought the game, but I'm just using a crack on the bought version to get rid of memory checks. So back at you. But anyway, first thing that I want you to do in Max Payne is come over here, just bring up your screen and go over to documents, however you get to it, users, documents, and what you want to do is go to Rockstar Game Folder right here, and what I want you to do is save you a copy. Just copy the folder Max Payne 3 and just save it to your desktop or somewhere where you know where it's at to keep it safe. And I usually keep mine right here. I've already done that, and the reason being is I want you to start a brand new game. Okay, I want you to start a brand new game, put it on easy, and that way you can hack as much as you want, get your health, get your ammo, and then you can just go back in, put your game back down, copy and paste this back into there, and you still have your saves and everything. That way it won't, you'll still have your save games. Because a lot of people are doing this way later in the game. Okay, so that's my first advice to you, so you can start a fresh game. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. Now, I've been having a little trouble with Cheat Engine and my graphics card in Max Payne 3. Usually when I start using the debugger, it'll knock my graphics card off, and so I have to keep logging back into it and logging back into it. So I may have to cut a lot during this segment of getting infinite health and show you the compare I use. Okay, so if I have to do that, I'm sorry. It's just, I'm having a little bit of trouble with Cheat Engine and my graphics card right now. So, but I'll try to get that sorted out later. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I brought it up, I started a new game, so I'm right where the game freezes, where kind of the tutorial section, where it's teaching you how to shoot and the abilities of the game. So first thing I do, I bring up Cheat Engine before I attach it to the game. I'd like to go in there and see, make sure my hotkeys are the way I want them. I only use increase, decrease, changed, and unchanged because I like using hotkeys. I recommend that, but use whatever's convenient for you. I also like to make sure that I am set on VEH debugger. Most games nowadays, VEH is probably the best to use. So now that we got that, we're going to go ahead and attach it to the game. I'm not going to load my associated table because we're going to be doing this from scratch. Okay. So the first thing I like to do is go ahead and place writable, make it readable and writable by making the little check into a little box in there. That makes it readable and writable. And we're just going to go in there and take a look and see what our ammo value is first, and then we can concentrate on health. Alright, now if you take a look in our bottom right hand corner, you'll see ammo values. You see our player health. I think this is something else, but for right now we're just concentrating on ammo. We have an inventory value and we have a chamber value, chamber being what is actually in the gun at this time. So right now we're just going to be looking for the chamber value, and I normally just start off on 4 byte. That's usually where you're going to find ammo and exact value. So we're going to go ahead and use some. Let's go ahead and let's get up and over out of the way. And you saw down here we went down to 12. So we're going to search for 12. And it brings up 4 different addresses. You may get more, who knows. But I'm going to bring all 4 of these down here, just like so. And we're going to change each value to a different one, just some kind of obscure value. I'm going to go 30, then 40. And the reason I'm doing this is you have display codes and you have an internal code. An internal code is the one we need to modify. It is what is actually in control of all display codes, and you'll see that. Let me bring it over here to the side, and when the game is affected again, when we have it running again, you'll see it all change to one value. That will let us know which the internal code is. So we know that first value is 30, 40, 50, 60 on down. And they all went to 50. So we know this one here, 30, 40, 50, 60, is our internal code, and it is controlling what all the other display codes are, so we can get rid of those. So that's the one we want to deal with. I'm going to find out what accesses this address, and this is what's currently accessing it all the time. You can see it's just going. We could possibly use one of these locations. However, I'm just going to see what's writing to it at the moment. So we shoot it off. We fired off 2 rounds, and we can see right off the bat. Let's go ahead and stop this, that this is the writing opcode. I've had plenty of questions asking, how can I look at all this information and tell which one is actually writing to our address, whether it be health, ammo, or whatever. And basically, it's the same as I've been saying, but if you're new, this is Cheat Engine uses the Intel syntax, in which whatever is on the left is being affected by whatever is on the right hand side of the column. So if it's on the left, it's being affected by this over here on the right. And how it's being affected is by the command that's given. It's moving a value into our ammo address. If you could take a look up here, it's comparing a value to our ammo value. It's comparing 0. So something's going to happen differently here when it reaches 0. But we don't have 0 right now. Right here, it's just moving in. This is the very first value when we fire off the first round, which F equals 15 in ECX. If you take a look here, we can see what was the first thing recorded. ECX is moving the value of F into there, and if you don't know, just come over here to your programmer calculator and just put in F. You see that's 15. So it was, the first time was 15, it moved into our value. And we can manipulate it here. That's fine. We can go over and show that in memory view. Right here. Now this is the complex address, so the address that's being stored in ESI is being added to EAX times 4, which EAX is holding 0, so EAX times 4 is 0 plus 44. So really, right now it's just ESI plus 44. The reason you see these complex addresses is usually it's going to be dealing with a lot of different type values and addresses, such as items, where for example, this is dealing right now, we know, with our ammo. It could be dealing with different types of ammo later, maybe different types of guns or something like that. Usually what will be stored in EAX will be the item number. So let's say right now we're just using regular bullets. We may get armor piercing bullets later, or fire bullets and things like that, and each one of those may have a different item value, which EAX will probably store. Okay, usually that's the reason you see these complex type addresses. There are more reasons than that, but you'll find that a very common thing. But right now it's not important. I do have a video that I'll be happy to link in the upper right hand corner to show you how to calculate these manually if you wish to do so, and I'll go over it in full detail, and I'll link that up in the upper right hand corner for you. But for right now, we're just going to use that and go ahead and get infinite ammo. We're going to do it with an AOB injection at that address. We'll just label that ammo 1. And it'll find a unique array of bytes, and that byte right there will be called ammo 1, which is the very first byte, which is located at this address of our ammo operation code. And I'm just going to do it quickly. I have a beginner series that I just finished. If you are unfamiliar with what I'm doing now, I go over this type of stuff in full detail. I'll also put that in the upper right hand corner of the full playlist for you. And I go over all this kind of stuff, what the AOB scan is doing, everything. So let's assign that to the current cheat table. Let me explain this first. This is 6.3, but that's the hex value, and it's the hex value of 99. If you come over here to your hex calculator, put in 6.3, come over here decimal, you see that's 99. We can do it this way, or we can do it this way, pound 99, which means integer or decimal 99. Okay, you can do it that way too. I'm going to leave it on its hex value. Assign that to the current cheat table. We're going to go ahead and label that infinite ammo test. This lets us know when we say we're still testing it, because you want to play through most of the game, make sure that these scripts are still working, that it may not be another place in memory writing to it later, because that can happen also. Also, I recommend saving these to your code list. Saving these, you can do it either here, turn that back off, you can do it here, cancel, or you can do it in memory view itself. Right click on it and add to code list, and just label it, instead of code, just put ammo. And that way, when we bring it back up later, and if we need to find ammunition again, we can go directly to the opcode itself. And just double click it, carries us back here in memory. We can find our address again if it changes by putting the debugger on it. Right clicking, find out what addresses this instruction accesses. Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and turn our script on. And you can see it went to 99, infinite ammo. So now what we want to do is we need to look for our health value. We want to go ahead and find it now, but so we'll probably have to kill our enemies, so we'll have to come back and do it again so we can compare out enemies, because it is going through a shared opcode. So let's find our health first before we do that, and we're going to go over here to float, and let's do unknown initial value. Let me set it up first. I like to put it on rounded and simple values only. This gets rid of these really long values with the E after them, and just values it just probably will not be. And let's do a first scan. So we do have a way to heal up. If we mash the tab button, he'll take some type of medication. So right now we want to lose some health. So we went down some health, get out of the way, pause the game, and we'll go decrease value. And then we can go unchange, get rid of any kind of change in values, and just keep weeding it down like that. Same thing that we've been normally doing. You also want to be careful with health, make sure it's not regenerating. I happen to know it's not in this game, but sometimes it can be regenerating, so you do not want to use unchanged value with that unless you're all the way at full health again. So keep that in mind also. Okay, we took some more damage. And we're just going to keep doing that over and over again until we get down to a few we can try. And this guy couldn't hit a bear in the butt with a bass fiddle. Come on, hit me. Okay, we took some more damage. So we're going to decrease value, unchanged. Now let's go back in there and heal up. Mash tab, we'll heal up. Now increase value. That'll weed them down a lot. So let's pause the game. Unchanged, and we're just going to look for values that kind of make sense. And if you look around, really the only two that stand out, or three that stand out, is 1. Sometimes it can go from 1 to 0, your internal, but I happen to know it's one of these two right here, and these are the only two. You can see the others are changing. So one of these is our internal health, one of these is our display health. Display is what you see on your screen usually. And we need to find the correct one. So what I want to do is I want to go 200 and I want to go 400. And we'll see which one has the effect. Ooh. And they both went to 200, so we know that top one is our internal value. So let's put that on 500 and get rid of the display so it's not in our way. We're done with the scan. So we have found our health address. So right off the bat, what I want to do is I want to find a place in memory I can save. So we want to take a hit. It'll probably lag a little bit because there's just a lot of addresses being monitored by Cheat Engine right now. So we'll wait 3 years on him to hit me. There we go. So we can go ahead and stop this. Now you can go to any of these places and test them out, and it's possible that only the hero is going through some of these addresses, and that would be ideal to find that spot. However, I'm not doing that because we're going to talk about loose compares today. I'm going to show you how to do a loose compares. This is where you have a range of values that you can still compare out your hero versus enemies. Okay, but for right now, all I'm doing right this second is I'm just getting the writing opcode. We can see here is definitely writing to it because it's on the left, and XMMO is writing the new value to our health address. And we can check and see what XMMO is carrying when we got hit by clicking more information, F for the FPU stacks, and we can take a look in the XMM registers. XMM0 is the one writing. We see it's moving the new address into, or the new value into our address because it's already been manipulated and restored back into XM0. That's good. So we can go ahead and go to this in the memory viewer, and here's where our health is, and let's go ahead and save that also. We're going to add to code list, and we're just going to put this as writing health, or health writing, however you want to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and save what I got. I'm going to take the game down, and we'll bring it back up in just a few, and we'll go ahead and see if we can compare out our enemies. Okay guys, I'm bringing the game back up, so I have not reattached it to the game yet, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and turn all that off. Now I'm going to turn infinite ammo back on. I went ahead and got rid of the addresses, just deleted them because they're all going to be different anyway. Alright, so let's go ahead, get back into the game. Hit story, continue. Alright, while it's loading up, we're going to go over here to advanced options. Click on advanced options. You'll get this right here. And this is where we saved our health writing opcode. And all you have to do is just double click it. It'll carry you to that spot in memory. So now we can start looking up our health this way. It's going to be a totally different address this time, so we don't have to value scan it no more. Let's go ahead and put the debugger on it by right clicking. Put it on float. Alright. And let's get back to where we were. Alright. Now you may ask, why did only one pop up here? Well, there's a reason for that. Sometimes instant kills is writing at a different area. Like you get shot in the head or something that will drain you all the way to 0. Sometimes they put those opcodes in a different place. So I do recommend that you go try to find other places. But this will help get you started with infinite health, okay? Because I'm not doing that in here. It'll be just an incredibly long video, okay? If you want me to do a part 2 where we go find other places that's doing that, then we'll talk about it. Just leave a comment, let me know that you want me to do that. But for right now, it's not necessary. So right now, we're just trying to bring up our health and our enemy's health. So we want to go ahead and take a hit. Okay, there's one enemy. Okay, so we took a hit, so you can see our health right here. So I guess we're starting at about 500, so let's go ahead and double click that. And we'll just go ahead and put ours at 500. And let's just go ahead and freeze it. That way we got infinite health while we're looking this stuff up. Well, now we need to get our enemies. So we do not want to kill them where they're at 0, if we can help it. So I'm going to kind of shoot them in the leg just to kind of take a little damage off of them. A non-lethal hit. If you shoot them in the head, that's an instant kill. If you shoot them in the leg, it just takes a little bit off. That's why they got different opcode locations that it writes to it sometimes. One's for an instant kill, one's just taking off normal health. But we can still use one that is at 0. So I'm just going to highlight every single one of them. We know that our hero is the second one. And right click and open dissect data with selected addresses, or you can control D. And it will automatically put them at their base addresses. Remember, the base address is the address that's in the registry itself. In this case, it is ESI. Let's go ahead and stop that. Now first, I'm going to show you how to do a loose compare. And then we're just going to find a stable offset, so we don't have to do loose compares. I'm just going to show you how when you can't find an offset, okay? Let's do that again, because for some reason I just closed it down. Alright, bring it back up. First thing we need to do is go down to our health. 358 is the offset. And as you can see right off the bat, it put it at an incorrect value type. It put it at a 4 byte. And it happens. You just need to go in there and change it manually. We know our health is on float. You can even label it health if you want to, but I'm not going to do that. And now you'll get our correct value. So when you see that, a lot of times Cheat Engine doesn't guess these value types correctly. So it makes it a lot harder to find group differences. So keep that in mind. We want our guy to be in a different group, so we know that our health is at 500, which is the second address. So I'm going to put the second address over in his own group. I can label it hero, I can label it group 2, I'll label it hero if you need to see it. And now we got our hero separated. So we do have group differences. However, I've noticed that these have been changing a lot. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll take a snapshot of different locations with group differences, or I'll go write them in my notepad. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt 484 is a good one, just through experience, that the enemies are always this CD 000, and we're always at the same thing but at 100. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that value. I'm going to bring up a new notepad, and I'm going to put the offset of 484, which that's the offset. We know it's a 4 byte hex. I'll leave myself that note. We need to get these value type right. And I put down the value of my hero, then I'll put a / and whatever the enemies are, I'll put them over here. So hero and enemies. And that's just for me. You do it however you want to. I always recommend finding lots of offsets that you can try. That way you ain't got to keep digging around the dissect data. But what I also do is I'll take a screen print of it, so I can compare it when I bring the game back up again. A lot of these things change. As you can see, I've already been working with it. Let me bring up a new one that don't exist, and we're going to paste it up here, and that way we got it for next time. Alright, we're not using that right now. Right now I'm going to show you how to do a loose compare. And this is for instances where you can't find an offset, you're having difficulty finding a group difference that stay in the same, or they may be jumping to different offsets occasionally due to address shifts or whatever the reason may be. But sometimes you can just look for values that are staying the same all the time, or just maybe fluctuating between a range of values. Like this is, just say we decided to use this one. Well, we can see it's not really a group difference, but we can see our guys significantly different than the enemies here. We could use that as a loose compare if we wanted to, saying that anything that is above 80 at this offset we can use to separate out. But I'm not going to do that, because I'm not going to play around with stuff when I'm trying to record. Right now I'm going to use their health, and believe me, listen to me, you never ever want to use your current health as a source to compare. Now you can use your max health like a health cap, but we don't have one, or I don't have one readily available right now. I don't know where it's at. So I'm just doing this to show you how to use a loose compare, because I know that their health is always going to be at 358. Okay, right now we see our enemies are probably don't go above 200 here. We know our guy is at 500 at max health. Okay, so first thing we want to do is go ahead and start our script up. I'm going to do an A or B injection. I'm just going to put it as health 1. It's just a test. We're just testing things out. Right off the bat, I want to see what my registry is. We know it's ESI. We know that the base address in ESI is pointing to all these offsets. And we're going to use our health offset as pointing to here as a loose compare. Please, let me reiterate, do not use your current health as a compare ever in any game. I'm just doing this as an example. I'm not leaving it this way. Alright, so we're going to put our compare. And let's go ahead and put ESI plus, what was it, 358. Here's another important thing: make sure you get the value type right, or it won't work. So for right now, we know that our enemies are not going above 200, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little leeway. I'm going to say any type values between or above 400 are good for right now. And I'm going to put jump if greater or less than or equal to. Okay? That gives me a range of values, or I can just put jump if less than 400. If it's less than 400, always jump to code. And that's what I'm going to put. So I put the label code. I want you to jump if less to code. Just like that. So what it's going to do is going to go to this compare. It's going to take a look at the base address in ESI. And it's going to look at each one of them. We're telling them that we want it to look at the 358 offset. So it's going to take a look at the 358 offset and all the addresses there and the values that are in them. We're saying if it is below a 400 float, I want you to go ahead and jump. We know our enemies are below. So our enemies could be any value below 400 and it's still going to jump. However, if anything is above a 400, it will not jump. We're just going to have it jump the turn. Which is the same thing of mapping out the opcode instruction. You can do it like this too, it's the same thing. You just void it out with 2 slash marks. Same thing, doesn't matter. Okay? So we're not having anything right to it. However, we may encounter enemies later that are above 400. And we know we're at 500, and also our, we're probably going to go up in health later by upgrades or whatever. But for right now, I'm just showing you how to do a loose compare. So basically what it is, anything that's above 400 will not meet the condition and will have infinite health. It will not write to their health anymore. Anything that's below 400, it will write to their health and they'll die. Okay, that is why it is a loose compare, because it can be a whole range of values from 400 to 0. It will still lose health. Anything above a 400 will have infinite health. And you can do a multi-compare. Say, well, okay, I don't want it, because enemies could be at 600 later on, or enemies could be whatever. So we can put another compare in there. We know they're not going to meet this condition, So they'll keep coming down here, so we'll do another compare to kind of weed them out further. We can say it has to be 510, less than 510 and above 400, or we can do above 450 and kind of narrow that gap down a little bit. So all values in between 450 and 510 float will meet the condition. So let's go ahead and put that jump if greater than to code. Okay, jump if greater than 510 to code. So 510, the values between 450 and 510 float will not meet the condition, and it will not write to their health value. That gives us a big range here, and that's what's known as a loose compare. It's not an exact value. Our enemies are still fluctuating, however the conditions are being met, still giving us infinite health and killing our enemies. Does everybody understand that? You do not want to do it this way. Do not use something that's just constantly fluctuating like that if possible. But you can give yourself a range of where it still meets the conditions, okay, to kind of help you out. I really wanted to iterate that. And let's go test it out. We're going to go ahead and turn off cheat engine writing to our health value, and we're going to turn our script on. We're going to go ahead and label this infinite health test. Okay, let's turn it on. Let's go back to the game. Let's go take some hits. And you can see down here that our health is not going down. However, will our enemies die? You can see over here, our enemies are going down when I shoot them. So, our loose compare is working. Alright, but we do have a good offset that we can use that stays the same. I've already checked it. But if you take a look, no matter what value, as long as they were below 400, they were going to continue losing health. Anybody that's above 450, I'm sorry, 450 we changed it to, will still continue to get infinite health. And then we made it a little bit more narrow by putting in, I brought up the wrong one, 510. So any value between 450 and 510 float will be getting infinite health. So that's why you don't really want to use that, because you have some of these games that they could just be all kinds of values. You'll have enemies that are the same value you are. That's why I don't want to use that. But it can be an alternative when you're searching through the dissect data. You want to look for things in green that are kind of fluctuating between maybe a certain range of values that you know your enemies are never either reaching or far beyond. Okay? And that's what's known as a loose compare, and that can definitely help you. But I'm going to change my value to the one I know is the same all the time, which is 484. Okay? So I'm going to go CMP ESI plus 484. And I can use either enemies or hero. I prefer to use heroes because I don't know if different enemies will be a different value, but our heroes should stay the same at this value, this hex value. It is a 4-byte, and it's the hex, so we don't have to put anything in front of it. We can just put the value. Jump if not equal to code. Now these are the type offsets you want to use. Group differences, the values do not change, you're good to go. But sometimes you just are not going to find that, so you can try to use a loose compare and have a range of values. Okay, so that can also help you. I know a lot of people try to find and just cannot find a value that's always staying equal. Well, then that's when you might want to try a loose compare, where it has a range of values that are good. Okay, so keep that in mind. Thank you all so much for coming out and supporting Cheat the Game. I really do appreciate it. You just coming here and watching the vid, dropping a like on it, you don't realize how much that does help us out, and I really thank you so much for doing that. I thank you for everybody that's been supporting Cheat the Game over at the Facebook channel, over the Discord channel, and we're still trying to get the website, going and everything. I apologize about the hold up on that. But I also deeply want to thank my partners and my donators. These guys are the ones that's actually keeping Cheat the Game running. And without these people, it just would not be here anymore. I just would not be able to do it. So we all owe them a big debt of gratitude, and I try to give them value for their money this month. They all got a free course, which is $100 value, SEO course, which is search engine optimization. And I was happy for every single one of them to receive that course. So y'all enjoy it. And we'll have some more perks for you next month coming out. But I want to thank you so much for your continued support, your continued contributions. You are Cheat the Game every bit as much as I am, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right, guys, I do hope this helps you, and I do hope that this answers some of your questions. And for those new here, I hope this also helps you in different ways you can try to find out on how to compare out. We are going to continue our comparing out series with another game. I'm going to show you how to use registers where you can compare out, and we're also going to show you how you can use a stack and a stack address to compare out. An address in memory by using an AOB scan to actually compare your enemies versus your hero. And I'm going to show you 3 different ways to compare out that you can try, and we're going to go over that. And I'm going to give credit where credit's due over the Cheat Engine forums and where I picked it up from. But I'll have that in the next video, so hopefully that'll be out within a week or so. Alright guys, I'm out of here. You all take care. Keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating you. You all take care now.